Hey, this is Joseph from the Full-Time Filmmaker team.
Hey man, you can't say full, listen. It's copy paper.
Copyrighted.
Sí, pues obvio.
Hey, this is Joseph from the Full-Time Filmmaker team. And I forgot to include these 3 things in my course that every content creator, dude, I can't do this, man.
You were mean on the last video as you're over there like hang, goes crazy. I like it. You was over there.
Okay,
just,
so that's the thing. I realized I was a lot more anal about certain elements in that review than I should have. And I actually wrote the script for Sam Colder's course review, and then I looked back and looked at Full-Time Filmmaker's review, and I was like, dang, I was a mean one. So I took a step back and I told myself, this course is not made for people like me. This is made for beginners and intermediates.
Intermediates, fool.
Right. Intermediate. Full-Time Filmmaker's course is so much more robust, especially when you have something to compare it to. Even to the point of making this video, I had to think long and hard to give you something of value that was worth talking about.
Go ahead, bro.
And here's a hint.
And we've seen this huge shift over the last couple of years of people who just want to make better content. And we want to make stuff for you too. We want to make that barrier of entry as low as possible so you can start making amazing content.
So all that means is I gotta make this video before you update this course, because then this video becomes irrelevant.
Number 1, they don't teach you what to do when you're poor.
You see, I was that guy who didn't know how to use lights because I couldn't afford lights. This is the poor man's guide to cinematic lighting. God gave everyone the sun, so might as well use that light. Now, if you gotta shoot out here, set your white balance to 5600 Kelvin or to 6000, and make sure that you're shooting in the shade. It's gonna make it a lot easier for your camera to see the brightest and the darkest parts of your image. Now, if you're shooting on a phone, make sure that your white balance is locked. Your editing self will thank you later. I feel like an obnoxious reporter. Now, here are some benefits for you. You won't have to squint. Your camera is not going to struggle with the dynamic range. You know how it hurts and you have to squint whenever your mom turns on the lights for you to go to school in the morning and you're so used to that darkness? Your camera is a lot like your eyes in that case. In the mornings, your eyes are used to the darkness, not the light. Hence why it hurts to look at the light when you've been in the darkness for so long. Ooh, that'll preach, wouldn't it? Come on, somebody. Could it be that people don't change, not because they don't want to, but because it hurts to see the world differently than what they are used to? Can I get an amen, Papa? Yes, sir. Sorry, got a little carried away there. If you want some bonus points, not only shoot in the shade, but also point your camera towards the shade in the background. And for even more bonus points, shoot at golden hour, which is sunrise or sunset, and it looks so good. If you gotta shoot inside, turn off all the lights. Overhead house lights are typically the worst looking lights that you can find. Turn them off. Next, wait until daytime, find the biggest window you got, and sit right next to it. And the next thing is to point your camera 30 to 45 degrees away from the window. Bonus points if you... And if you want to get more fancy, grab any lamps or lights that are already in your house and stick them in the background. I cannot restate this enough. Check out Brady Bez's YouTube channel. He was featured on Full-Time Filmmaker's lighting course area, and he goes way deeper into this, talking about we light spaces, not faces. So freaking good, man. Check him out. The next thing they don't teach about is something that is evolving so fast, so you can't really blame them, but bro, they don't teach you how to cook. I know, the audacity. This is a great teaching opportunity. You need to know the ingredients to keep flavors in balance. You also need a recipe to know how to recreate it in the future. And you need to eat several different types of food so you can get fresh ideas for your new dishes. All of these concepts connect to short form video content. Now, I can do a whole video on this, but I'll just give you a few concepts to keep it short. Number 1, compositional ingredients. The rule of thirds no longer works here. You want to follow the rule of half and some change. When you're looking at a vertical video, cut that thing in half vertically and horizontally. After you find that crosshair, go up just a little bit. That is a sweet spot for the most important visual aspect of your video. I mean, think about it. It's not the top because that gets covered up with words. It's not the bottom because that gets covered up by the caption. So if you're doing reaction content, you want people to be there for you, not the video that you're showing. So it may be better for you to be on the top and then whatever they're watching on the bottom, because their eyes are naturally going to go up to that half and some change mark. And now that you got your ingredients, it's time for that recipe. The recipe is the story. Now I am going to show you 2 clips, and I want you to choose which one you're paying more attention to.
Because of you, I never strayed too far from the sidewalk. Safe side so I don't get hurt.
Both can obviously shred, but only one is capturing your attention. Better said, one has more engagement. You're absolutely right. It's the one with the recipe or the story. Story is king, and that will never change. This guy uses the same recipe on every single one of his videos to show his skills on the guitar. It seems simple, but it makes a difference. Some DJs even do it whenever they want to show off some mixes that they've been working on.
I will never let you down.
And the last thing that is used to cook up some short form content is your exposure to new flavors and concepts. Now, I suggest you grab something that is not in your niche. You know, I saw this trend that was using the audio from Super Smash Brothers, like choose your character, and it was like in the fashion world, and then I was like, wait, how about I grab that and then use it but with camera brands? And go figure, that thing blew up to over 40,000 views on Instagram. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but when all my other stuff was getting 2,000 views, hey, that's significant. Whipping up some short form content is definitely something full-time filmmaker could capitalize on. Hey,
What's up?
have you seen this video?
Which video?
This one.
Are 12 different camera angles that you'd want to use to enhance your films and help bring more emotion to your stories. One of the biggest
Bro, I can't believe this is free. This is great content.
Actually, I paid to watch that video.
Luther.
Whatever, dude. I bet you didn't see this one.
Wide shot of Taylor, tight shot of touchscreen, medium shot, wide shot, tight shot of him setting ball on.
Funky.
Did he say funky butt loving?
Where's this guy getting this from? Did I miss a step? When I first started out, I struggled with this. I was like, wait, when do I go to a medium? When do I go to a tight? Why do theirs look so smooth and simple, but mine looks so choppy? How do I put these things together? This is what they didn't teach. How to use glue. Now, just for a second, forget the long shots, forget the cowboy shots, the tights, everything. For the sake of this example, we're only going to use one focal length as well as 3 types of shots: a wide, a medium, and a tight. If you want to make your shots look as smooth as theirs, as well as make your edits invisible, here's what you got to do. Work your way in or work your way out. A medium shot to a medium shot doesn't make any sense. However, a wide to a medium makes a lot more sense. And if you want to get fancy, even a tight can make it even cleaner. Here's a pro tip, by the way, if you ever have to go to a new scene. Come on, be sure to start with the opposite of the shot that you just came from. This will glue it together. Now, there are always exceptions to this. If you want to intentionally make someone feel chaos, speed, movement, going from tight to tight to tight will do the trick. Have you seen YouTubers jitter and teleport from place to place? These are called jump cuts. And you probably don't even notice them anymore because YouTubers have just made it mainstream. You can do 2 things to make this feel not as jumpy. The first one is to punch in. Now, you don't know this, but these are 2 different takes. And the other is a 30-45 rule. Now, this is if you're using 2 cameras, but the same rules apply. What this means is move the camera at least 30 degrees from the last shot so that in succession, it doesn't look weird. This is why you see in interviews, the main shot is probably a wide, and then another one is off to the side really tight just on their face, just so that all the edits look really smooth. This is what I mean when, unfortunately, they don't teach you how to glue. Shot listing can be very powerful if you know how to glue. By the way, I made my own shot list in Notion. If you want, you can buy it for 10 bucks, or just wait until the end of this video. I'll give you a code and you'll get it for free. I ripped it from a mainstream shot list website and made it myself. Don't tell anyone.
And there used to be a way to stick it to the man. It was called rock and roll.
Well, not rock and roll, we just changed it as a run and gun. The majority of the stuff the full-time filmmaker team is done with all preparation in mind. Diffusers, tripods, gimbals, changing this, that. When I was in Las Vegas, I shot for this like Pennzoil race thingy, and we were walking around like 8 miles a day with 30 to 40 pounds of gear on our backs, and it was exhausting. So it goes without saying, if you're gonna run and gun, pack light. Leave the monitors, the map boxes, all that stuff, leave it at home. If you're vlogging and you're traveling, what if you draw a lot of attention or you're gonna get jacked? At least you won't lose everything if you get jacked. Not funny, huh?
You need to
impressive. At the same race, I remember I was shooting these drift cars and they were getting so close to the little barrier, and I was like, dude, I want to get a really tight shot of the car just getting so close to that median. But for those of you who know me, I hate zoom lenses. I always go for primes. I just love the look of them way more than zooms. However, that 35mm could not get close enough, so I had to punch it in post, and I still don't like the way it looks to this day. So the lesson there from my experience: use zoom lenses instead of primes if you're running and gunning. I picked this up from my boy Hayden. If you can, get a gimbal or a tripod that has legs that can stand up on its own at a moment's notice. Because setting up a tripod in the hallway of an airplane is typically frowned upon. I would put a Hangover reference here, but I'm not going to. After I shot the drift sequence, it was time to actually go towards the race, and we were in this really long underground hallway, and there was these fluorescent lights that were absolutely disgusting. It was gross. However, I got some really sick shots of people walking, and I was like, oh yes, this is gonna be perfect. Got back to the hotel room the same day to edit that footage, and I had the worst time trying to make these clips look normal. So this is a good opportunity to tell anyone that is just starting out, and this is something I would tell my past self if I could give myself any piece of advice: be extra sensitive to white balance. If you're shooting log, which is that gray crap, it's gonna be very difficult for you to see what the white balance is even doing to your image because it's all gray. Turn on gamma display assist. If you shoot in log, most modern cameras are going to have that feature. It lets you see things in what it would look like normally. And a follow-up to that, assume that you're going to change the white balance. There's this activity that I do just for fun by myself. Whenever I'm walking around at different stores or malls or any public place, I look at the lights and see if I can guess the color temperature, and it kind of starts making your eye be more sensitive to white balance. Level 1 is going into a store and thinking, oh, that's around 4,000 Kelvin of a white balance. And then pro level is looking up at the street lights and saying, ah, that's 3,500 Kelvin, but I think that we're gonna have to shift those colors into the magenta side. Auto white balance will not do the trick, but I made you a cheat sheet, so memorize this thing. I'll put it on my store for $5 if you wanna give me a coffee, but if you watch till the end, just put the code in, it'll be for free. We walk out of the long hallway and finally see the big racetrack, and dude, I had no idea. It doesn't do it justice what I'm telling you right now. It is so loud, and those cars are moving so fast. So here's my thought process every single time that I'm running and gunning. Number 1, always have a scene in your mind when you press the record button. It could be as simple as a girl waving and saying hello, but in your head you're thinking, okay, I need a wide to establish where I'm at, get a medium so the audience knows who we're looking at, and then a tight to actually see it's the wave and that's the action. That is an entire scene so that it makes sense. Next, always have a climactic action in mind. Now, climax is a strong word, but it could be as easy as, like I said, someone waving or someone shaking hands. There should always be a tight shot of that action taking place. I'm sorry that I don't remember, but I think it was Logano, it was his name. He won the race. It was so cool. I was in the winner's circle. I was like recording the whole thing, confetti flying everywhere. I thought it was so sick. I obviously couldn't ask him to do the ceremony all over again to get the shots that I needed. But in those other cases where you can, don't be scared to ask someone to do the action over again. It will make it a lot easier when you're in the editing room. Let me ask you this. When's the last time you saw a video where a clip lasted longer than 10 seconds? Don't worry, I'll wait. It's because a shot longer than 10 seconds is not normal. So it goes like this. Press the record button, get the wide for 10 seconds. Don't stop recording. Move in, get the medium for 10 seconds. Don't stop recording. Now get the tight for 10 seconds or less because the action is typically really short. And sometimes the actions are so short that you need to elongate them in post to make people know what's happening. That means shoot in slow motion if you're running and gunning. Shoot in 60 FPS or any slow motion frame rate that you got. But honestly, none of this stuff even matters if you don't know how to keep things in focus. So I suggest you check out this video, teaches you exactly when to use autofocus and when to use manual focus, which a lot of people may get confused on.
Good work, people. We will continue with our lecture on the man when we return.